race weekend of the BMW IBSF Men's Skeleton World Cup. We're in Altenberg in Germany late on this Friday afternoon, getting ready for the second heat of this men's race, with the double world champion on this track leading after the first heat. But John Morgan here in Altenberg, having a lead is no guarantee you're going to have a gold medal.
Well, good example of what happened in the first heat. The Olympic champion Sun Bin Young, for the first time ever, didn't qualify for a second run. But this guy, Marcus Dukors, who's won here a number of times on this track, and he knew how to come down fast. He had the 5th best start time. He went off 6th. Good ice to work with. He's in a bronze medal position. Chasing down 2 Germans, Axel Jung. Well, Axel knows how to win on this track before. He was injured for last year's World Championships, didn't make it. But 14th best start, great speeds on the bottom part of the track, and he's got 10 hundredths on Martin's new cars, and he's chasing down his teammate Christoph Ropier, who's won the last 2 World Championships, including on this track. 13th best start. Great glider down the track, and he turned red numbers into green on the bottom. He's got a 10 hundredths lead. But Martin, from what we saw in that first run, anything can happen on this track. It's too tough to tame.
You're absolutely right. Christopher Groothair, interestingly, until last Friday, had won 3 races at the top level, 2 World Championships and 1 World Cup race, all on this track. Last Friday's 3-way tie for gold in Innsbruck is the only race he's won at the senior level that was not in Altenberg. So he's got pretty decent history. Won the World Cup race here 4 seasons ago now, and he leads the field where he won the last 2 World Championships. And yeah, the huge story, Sun Bin Young has never missed the cut in his career. He did today, his 53rd World Cup race. So 20 sleds go down in reverse order of their first heat performance, which means the USA's John Daly, who makes the cut again, just gets in by the skin of his teeth. He will be the first to go, and we'll see whether Christopher Groothair can hold on. Last week he was the last to go, but he had a dead heat with 2 other sliders. That man on the right there, Matt Weston, and Gung Wenchang of China, a historic first. The chances of that happening again are slender. Gung is a long way down in 9th place. Matt Weston in 5th position, but 4 tenths away. So here is the start draw. John Daly, followed by Aussie Nick Timmings in his first World Cup race in nearly 2 seasons. Ronald Arderset, Amadeo Banias, and so on, until we get down through to the serious stuff where we fight for the medals. And that is essentially one of the Dukos brothers, Jung and Groothair, unless something freaky happens. And this is a track where freaky things happen. Second and deciding heat, race 3 of the BMW IBSF Men's Skeleton World Cup at Altenberg in Germany. Martin Haven and John Morgan watching America's John Daly blast off 20th in the first heat.
Yeah, John doesn't get the starts that he used to. 5:20 in the first, 21 in the second, but he made the cut last week at Innsbruck. He didn't make the cut in either race. But let's say something, reach out to John's teammate, Austin Florian. Austin had an unbelievable crash in the finish curve in the first run. He's okay from what we hear. We saw him walk away, but he was in 4th place when he crashed, Martin. He was really going for it and had a great run going. So, Austin, we hope you're better.
Yes, we absolutely do. This is a track that can really come out and get you at any stage. All the traditional pitfalls have been grabbing people on the way down. This is a slightly smoother looking run from John Daly. Little skiddy from 14 into 15. 2 curves left. Huge double pressure, 16 and 17. The finish corner avoids the wall at the line. 57.32. Not quite as quick as his 57.18 first heat.
This morning,
the track would be getting a little quicker.
The women's event, we saw the track record get broke 5 times in the second run. They lowered the track record by 2,500 hundredths, which is unbelievable. Yeah. But I don't think we're going to see the same out of the men's race here today, Martin.
I wonder. Getting colder and colder. Ralph Mender, the Ice Meister, and his crew here really know how to get the best out of this track.
Yeah, John didn't have a bad run, but, you know, John made his living in skeleton with good start times, you know, when he just missed that Olympic medal in Pyeongchang without that unfortunate bad fourth run, but doesn't have the same start he had 4 years ago.
Well, let's see if he moves up the order. He was 800s ahead, or 800s ahead of him was Nick Timmings, one of the two Australian sliding Timmings from Perth in WA. His brother Dean raced last week in Innsbruck, and a new Aussie athlete made his debut, Elliot Brown, in the first Innsbruck race. So 3 races in, third different Australian slider.
5:23, 100 slower, just like John Daly. Nicholas Timmings had the best heat of his life, but he really has never really made the cut. He flew down to the bottom part of the track at a time when I say to myself, things are getting faster on the track.
Yep.
That was right around dusk over at Altenberg. You can see it's pretty dark. Let's see what he does here. Red numbers against John Daly. They were only separated by 800. Dead heat now, best speed. And he's got John Daly now. So if he brings this same type of line to the bottom, he'll be the leader.
And if he holds this, it will be his career high result in World Cup racing.
Yeah.
2 20th places before now. Better speed again than John Daly. This to hold on to a top 19 finish. And at the line, good run through.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, Daly went 1,400 slower. Timmings went 100 faster. You know, they had similar start times. Hey, good day, Nicholas Timmings. That's your best finish ever in a World Cup. It's all about PBs, personal bests. This athlete just achieved his personal best in the sport.
There's Jane Channel helping out down there. She slid in this morning's race. Yeah. Well, if he'd
Good
stayed
lines,
on the
11,
beach,
12.
he wouldn't have had a personal best.
Hugged the right line all the way down into 12, 13.
Well, the brothers spend as much time as they can sliding, but the budget is tiny, so the opportunities are relatively few and far between. Nick Timmings, the leader then, from Ronald Odderset. Ronald had 2 tenths in hand after the first of our 2 heats. Both heats count. Total elapsed time decides the finishing order. So you can move up, you can move down, or you can stay where you were.
Hasn't had a lot of great results, Martin, but I can bring up the Testament in Beijing there on the riding center track. He had 14th place. Pretty good. Because he's usually 18th, 19th, 20th place. His World Cup rankings, he was like 16th last year. 2400's lead, but Martin, on this track, nothing is safe. Just ask for it, you know, on the first run.
Listen to the ice. Listen to the ice crackle. It is hard and fast.
Pulling away. He had a pretty substantial lead, 2000ths lead.
Yeah.
He's going to grow it out even
heavily,
more.
but he hangs on.
Same exact time as Nick Timmings.
Yeah.
So he maintains his 2000ths, maintains his spot. I mean, that's his personal best of the year. Didn't do so well.
That is his personal best here as well. 20th in the last race here, the last World Cup race here, was his joint best. So no worse than 18th, another PB.
This big corner sets you up for the Kreisel 9 exit, perfect. Head down, boy, a lot of concentration there, a lot of confidence coming out of that curve, and skid into 14. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, a bit comme ci, comme ça, as they say in his particular canton of Switzerland. Well, next up, Amadeo Banias, 20th of our starters, finished in 17th place. Off the 7th best start, all kind of came unravelled lower down in the run. Let's see if he can tidy things up and move up the order.
This young athlete for Italy has been coming on, Martin. He gets great starts, but he's young enough to be able to look into that crystal ball for 2026 in the Milan Cortina Olympics.
Yeah, that's a huge 4-year focus, isn't it? Ooh, a little late.
And his female teammate this morning, who won a bronze medal last week in Innsbruck, her first ever, Italy's first ever skeleton medal, I think. She crashed, and in the second run this morning. And she's okay. But the Italians just have some young athletes they brought out, and they're doing well.
He's flying here, isn't he? Growing the gap. 3400s, 32 now, second best speed,
is a better
just
run.
letting it go. Yeah, really has the confidence, just a tiny rub on the wall, 56.89. Where would that have left him? Another spot higher up.
Yeah, 1400 slower than his first run. But, again, how old is he, Martin? Was he like 23?
That's a good question. 22?
He's like 23, 24.
22, yeah.
22. Perfect age, be 25, 26 years old going into Milan Cortina. Mistakes here, well, about 80% of the field does that same mistake. 4 or 5. This is in the Chrysler. You just don't want to go down too low there and disappear. Pretty good. Not as good as his first runs, but he's the leader.
Milan Cortina could conceivably be his second games, and he could easily go on to another couple after that. He's young enough starting out. Next up, Kim Jisoo, the only one of 3 Korean sliders to make the field. He's the lowest ranked of the 3 this season with a 9th and a 14th place finish. And currently in 16th spot with the yawning margin of just 0.02 of a second in hand over Amadeo Banias.
496, 4th best start, 494. Martin, we talked about Sun being young and the other, Korean not making the cut in the second run. The 2 athletes with the best starts in the first run did not make the cut in the second run. If you have a best start in Innsbruck, you're going to make the second run. That just tells you how Altenberg, there's just so many gremlins all over this track. It's not about a start time. It's about you have to drive down this track that I call too tough to tame.
Second best speed for Kim Jisoo. 1800s is the lead. It's coming down. And that was
a lot of control there. 11, 12. 300. I don't know if he's going to do it.
I'm not sure he does. I think Amadeo Banias could hold on here. A clean last couple of corners is not enough. So Amadeo Banias will be second for Kim. Banias remains our leader. Well, Kim Jisoo did the last 2 Worlds, 12th and 14th. This is his 20th World Cup, and it looks like he's not going to do as well as he did here in the World Championships.
Martin, over in Yangqing in China, he was 7th in that test event, so he could be somebody. Look at that little leg fall off there, and look at it's out there, so he a little unstable. 11, 12. Corrected it pretty good, but can't fault that line there.
Look at the high sheen on the ice. Even our winner this morning was saying how tough it is to find grip on this track without giving away speed. Amadeo Banias leads, 5 down. Second heat, race 2 of the BMW IBSF Men's Skeleton World Cup. The first of our Chinese athletes in the field. 15th after the first heat, Chen Wenhao off the 7th best start. And Chen, only his 3rd World Cup. He did race here in the World Championships 2 seasons ago, but has very limited knowledge of this track.
Martin, last week in Innsbruck, he had the best start in the first heat. Tells you the type of athletes that the Chinese have brought to the competition.
Yeah,
jump
2
for
weeks
him
in
too, that type of start.
He improved in 2 weeks from 19th in race 1 to 12th in race 2.
This is foreign soil to these guys. They weren't in Europe last year. Ooh. 2100, that should be enough, unless he finds a way to lose it in the straightaway coming at us right here. Bang.
He's trying.
Down to 9.
He's trying
it's going to
hard.
be close, Martin. It's going to be close.
Another close one at the line. Who's in front?
Yes,
Banius holds on
drops
again.
2 spots. 2 spots he drops.
That exit out of 14, going over that short uphill run, not only do you lose speed going uphill, but it puts you sideways into 15, and then you're fighting the sled all the way to the line through 16 and 17 as well.
Well, you don't finish all the way up there. It means you've really erased a lot of speed.
Yeah.
Here he is in the Kreisel. How's the exit? I don't think he exits smooth. Look at the feet come up. He's not sure of himself. Watch him crush into the wall on the left, his right. Bang, that throws you into the middle part of these next 2 curves. And Martin, this is where he lost it for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just putting on the brakes there, isn't it? Tough break. He comes down 3rd spot with 14 to go. And there is Amadeo Banius, our current leader. So next up from the Ukraine, Vladislav Harriskevich. He had a long hold before the start of his first heat after Austin Florian's crash from the USA. Let's see what he's got here.
14. 500's better than his first heat. That's a lot. But start's not such a big deal here as it is on almost every other track. Nice lines there. 1100's lead. Well, the reason it's 1100 is because he has such a deficient start compared to Banias. He got beat by 1300s at the start. Now it's up to 26, and he's got the best speed. Martin, Vlad can slide. Vlad's only deficiency is the first 50 meters. He is growing this lead.
Best World Cup race result, 8th place in La Plagne in France.
This is huge.
Good speed.
Look at this time.
At the line, that's a good run.
2/10 better than his first run. 56.31 would have put him into 7th in the first run.
Yeah, as opposed to 14th, and that would have been a career best. So, happy with that run.
But the thing is, when you have that bad start, you just can't make a mistake in every heat. Puts a lot of pressure on your driving. Here he's coming over to get on the take-on his terms. Look at the little lean. Nice work there in that straightaway, which is an uphill straightaway.
Yeah, happy with that as he takes the lead from Amadeo Banius.
Because I forgot. Oh, but you have to carry. Yeah.
So both of them 22 years old. Swap positions in the leaders box now. 13th after the first heat, Marcus Wyatt of Great Britain. 7th best start. 2/10 quicker than Vladislav Harriskevich just in the start. Nice little message.
Well, this GB athlete didn't do so well in Innsbruck the last 2 weeks, Martin, but that test event in Yangqing, he was 2nd. So that's got to give him some good vibes as he prepares for the Olympic Games.
So the key is to make sure he qualifies, to make sure that he gets to go, because clearly he feels that will be a track that he can impress on.
Good lines there.
Whoa, a little late.
Only 100th. He had a huge advantage at the start. 1700s at the start. Oh, he's going to fall
down here. Harriskevich has the best speed, so Marcus Wyatt will drop behind him into 2nd spot.
Yeah, he's 3/10 slower.
Yeah.
Harriskevich went 3/10 faster, 2/10 faster. So half-second disparity between these two sleds coming down the track. Harriskevich must have had a really bad first run, Martin, to do that, what he just did there.
Yeah. Had a really good second
Little mistake here, though. You're going to see him come off the sled. Not bad, though. Not bad. Good form in the Kreisel. Didn't even, foot barely came out. Little adjustment in the exit. Boy, you can't fault any lines on this run. Just not as fast as he needed to be.
Trying not to fight it. Vladislav Harriskevich leads with 12 sleds to go. Next up, Mattia Gaspari, more experienced of our two Italian sliders, 28 years old now, from Cortina. Sister also competes in winter sports for Italy. She's on their World Cup ski team.
Good slider. Well, good line so far. Let's see what he can do here in the long straightaway coming up. This is where you got to take advantage of what the speed part of the track is coming up. So no mistakes here, and he didn't make one. Second best speed. Only has 12 hundredths. He had 17 at one time. He's down to 5. Second best speed. Harriskevich could pick up another one. 100.
Here.
Second best
Not
speed.
enough speed. Harriskevich had the best speed at the bottom. So second place, 900s back.
Boy, I told you that Ukrainian had a good run, Martin. He's picked up 2.
Yeah.
He might
Very
pick up
consistent.
another.
Consistent from Mattia Gaspari, a 56.43 and a 56.47, just 400ths of a second apart.
Bene, bene.
But you hate to lose a spot.
11-12 combination. They've softened that, they say, and we're going to find out in the bobsled world tomorrow.
Yeah.
But we've seen a bunch of crashes in training, and of course, here in Skeleton, we saw them.
Ciao a tutti, buonasera.
Yeah, we always got to give him his audience, his theater. But Austin Florian had some crash in the first heat, Martin.
Oh, yeah.
Great to see him walk away, but that was a thrilling watch.
800ths of a second ahead of our current leader. Vladislav Harriskevich of the Ukraine is Alexander Treticoff, the 2014 Olympic champion, the last man to win a World Cup race on this track, and the silver medalist in January's World Championships here.
492 is 300ths better. Martin, he had a run. That might have been one of his worst runs on this track. And that's what he did. He was so worried about the exit that he made that mistake. And that erases so much time. He did the same thing in the first run.
Well, just look at him now. It looks pedestrian. It almost looks like he jogged off the top.
40 hundredths up to 1500ths up. It's all curve 3. The mega curve that did it.
Now, the question is, how far does he drop? There's only 900ths first to second. He'll be third, probably. Hanging on. Well, he knows how to drive this place. Oh, how did he hold on?
Well, curve, the omega curve up there, Martin. You got to get in that curve, and you got to maintain a good exit, good line for a good exit so you don't bang the wall in the crossover. He was so worried about it both runs.
He did this in the first heat, didn't he? He made a complete pig's ear of Omega and yet still had speed at the bottom.
Look at that change of direction. Look at that. You never see that in skeleton racing. And then he still crashes the take onto the wall. Here, I mean, double-edged sword mistake there for him.
How did he still have so much speed here? Look, makes a pig's ear of 14 as well. If he'd got 4 right in both runs, he'd probably be the runaway leader.
Yeah,
hey ho, you live and learn.
12th place? No, no way. 10th place?
Alexander Treticoff leads with 10 sleds still to go by 300s from Vladislav Harriskevich. Well, the sun has long since set. All the Christmas lights are on in the little villages and the towns around here. And yeah, little bruise on the hip there, I think, from Alexander Treticoff. Probably a few bruises from most athletes after this week. To go from the gentle glide, and it is a very gentle glide of eagles, to come here to the rough, tough, rumbustious Altenberg, John, is a pretty big gear change.
And then they're going back to a similar track to Winterberg next week. And that's, 50 seconds in time, 49 seconds in time. It's a lot calmer. It's the start time dominates the competition and up in the Sauerland, in the land where they make Veltins.
Yeah.
And I miss my Veltins over there.
Oh, well. Needs must. Unfortunately, we're missing the audience here as well in
the crowds.
Saxon Energy Ice Canal. Plenty of noise at the top, though, from the Russian athletes. There's Elena Chenkova, closest to us, medalist this morning. Looked as though after the first heat, she might hold on for her first ever World Cup medal in bronze. She promoted herself to silver. And only the 4-time world champion could beat her. Elena Chenkova could be a very entertaining slider for the rest of the season.
Yeah, and she did well over there in the track in China, too.
Yeah. Well.
There's an angry look.
Interesting games. Alexander Treticoff is our leader. 10 sleds to go here in Altenberg. A lot of noise at the top of the track from the Russian female skeleton sliders for Nikita Chegabov, Olympic bronze medalist in Pyeongchang. 300ths of a second, his lead over his own teammate Alexander Treticoff, so we'll have a Russian leader after this, but which one?
Well, he had a 5 flat in the first run, 5 flat in the second run. Let's see how the type of line he takes here in this Omega curve. 3, this is 4. Does he get out of here without a hit? Yes. These red numbers here, that's relative to the start. But I think he's going to catch Treticoff here at the bottom. There's the green.
Well, the question then is, how far up does he rise? Another 5 spots. He's only 900ths in front of him, so a good run here could promote him up into the top half dozen.
You're absolutely right, Martin. He didn't have a very good first run, and he won a silver medal on this. No, he won a 6th last year at the World Championships here.
Yeah.
So
he's had World Cup medals here, though.
Yeah, there, 56.
And how
20.
much in front? Yeah, okay.
2/10 better, Martin. 1900ths better. That, I think, is going to move him up.
Well, that would have been 5th place in the first heat. So that is the equal 5th fastest run of the competition so far. It doesn't take much of a mistake from the next 2 or 3 sliders, and suddenly he's in the top 6 again.
Well, there's perfect. Well, he's that left foot, his left foot to the right side of our screen. That's out a little bit.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem like much, but that foot dragging out there outside that aerodynamic cone, that's a couple hundredths.
Plus it put him on the wrong side as he drifted to the left. He needed to be on his right going into the Kreisel. So 9 to go. Gungweng Chang of China, our most recent, one of our 2 most recent first-time race winners last weekend. He, Matt Weston, and our current first heat leader here, Christopher Grote here, tied for the gold in Innsbruck, a 3-way tie. Well, it was double history, really, for Gung. First ever victory for a winter sport athlete in the sliding disciplines for a Chinese slider, and the first ever 3-way tie for gold.
5:06, Martin. That's 600's better than his first run. That's a good sign.
And he's a good driver, John, this kid.
Well, Jeff Payne was his coach. 2017 season, first time we saw him. Jeff Payne called me immediately and said, I just witnessed this athlete from China in St. Moritz at a Europa Cup event. This guy's going to be good. He went on to finish, I think, 20 or 21st first at the World Championships in 17. Here he is 3 years later, Martin. He's winning events.
Yeah. Second best speed, still second best speed, but the gap is growing. 1900s back to second place.
He's not going to catch him.
No, will he be ahead of Treticoff? He should be. He is just by 100.
By 100th.
Yeah.
And just a large amount of 100th of a second. Treticoff moves up one. Gang comes off a top 10 finish. But first in Innsbruck, historic first, Martin. Historic first Chinese, historic. 3 people tied for the gold medal, which, wow. Little variance, you know, not perfect there. Foot out a couple times, the rudder action. Here again, there's an uphill section there, so skidding and having your feet out going uphill is not real good combination with gravity to. Oh, look at the sparks. Ooh.
Wow, man.
Fire on ice.
Fire on ice. See, we're old enough to remember that.
Yeah.
Ask your father, everybody. So he'll be no worse than 10th, 5 spots better than his previous best on this track. Next up, Alexander Gassner. Well, he was the bronze medalist in the World Championships the last 2 years. Can he produce a World Cup medal out of this? It's going to be a long ask from 8th place, but at least he made the cut this week, unlike last week in Innsbruck.
Yeah, 400 slower at the start. And Martin, that was shocking that he didn't make the cut last week. It's shocking that our Olympic champion, Sun Bin-young from Korea, didn't make the cut this week. And Gassner, he won that event a month ago in China, the pre-Olympic test. So he's been all over the board from that gold medal to not making the cut last week.
Yep. Well, as I said last week, it's a funny old business sport.
Especially on this track. He's coming back, Mark.
Yeah.
He's 1000's back. This is still doable. Still doable.
Should have the lead. He was only, what, 500s ahead of Treticoff, but he's not going to be close enough, is he? Doesn't have the speed.
No.
Treticoff was second quickest, and he drops one. Same exact time as Gung Weng Chang, so he remains 100th ahead of Gung. I beg your pardon, no, he's 400s ahead of Gung. I can't count, which is news to no one.
A race within a race to become the top German, to become the top Russian, to become the top American. Not happy.
No.
He expected
well, when you
better.
Be a world
this didn't help, though.
Yeah.
Look at, he's trying to get over in the left, but I think that cost him a lot. His mistakes were made up there, 11, 12.
Well, two good seasons, and now, so far this year, 9th, 21st, and what, 9th again?
Yeah, but he was first in China. But he was first in China, so don't forget that.
Well, that's what he's got to do, is hold on to that. Hold on to that with all he's got. What about this kid? We saw his teammate, Elena Chenkova, just blow into the silver medal position after a great first and second run. He lies 7th. This could be a top 4 finish.
He's coming on. He's you know, it's a race. It's all about the race within a race. Now there's a Russian at the bottom, intently looking on at what this Russian does because he wants to become Russian #1. That's what it comes down to. We had not seen much of this seminar until this year, Martin. Didn't do bad over in China. 12th over in China.
It's his 4th World Cup race. And so far, 5th place in Innsbruck last week was his World Cup best.
7th best
Only the
speed.
7th best speed. It's coming
No
back
mistakes
down.
allowed.
Don't forget his teammate had the best
5.
speed. He's still close. His
Right to the
form is
100.
excellent.
Either way.
Chenkova or Semenov.
200.
Treticoff is not the leader. So Semenov will end the day as the top Russian. Now that
Hey, he's
will
the new
not,
kid on the block. The other
it
two
will
guys
not
are
move
world
him ahead of
champions.
Alexander Treticoff in the World Cup rankings, but he's already ahead of Nikita Chenkova, and he'll just extend that advantage. Wow.
He's the new kid on the block in the Russian camp, and he's the best Russian today. And can't fault much of what he just did there.
And you know what?
200ths of a second.
He's only 2 years younger than Treticoff. He's 24. Tregovov's still only 26.
Really?
Tregovov's, yeah,
He's been
Tregovov's
around
star.
Tregovov's been around for a decade, it seems like.
Wow, since Sochi, but his star has really been on the wane since the last games. What about Sammy Meyer then? 6th place. Great first run from the 22-year-old Austrian.
Well, he suffers at the start, Martin. He had the 25th best start time, and for him to come into 5th place was shocking. 5:25. But what he did at the bottom part of the track was unbelievable. How fast he was.
As you said, though,
mirror that.
yeah, if you don't have the start, you have to have perfection on your side. He was late out of 4. Gap will grow. Ooh.
He stopped the bleeding, Martin, but I don't know if he's going to be able to eliminate that 3100, so that's not a good exit. That just
late onto the Kreisel, late off, speed is gone. So he's going to drop 2 spots, maybe 3, maybe 4.
He could drop 5.
Maybe 5.
5, 6 spots.
Wow.
7.
Oh, and a crash at the line.
7 spots.
Wow.
Jeff Payne looking on the left. Coach.
Ow, 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 ow. Well, that wasn't quite Austin Florian's crash, but he was a few meters later hitting the wall.
43 hundredths slower, and he didn't make it up over the, to the, the hill.
He's going to be bruised and battered. Late out of 4, and it didn't get much better from there on down.
Okay, that's the first mistake. The second mistake, his start was the first mistake. And here, this looks a lot like Austin Florian, not as bad. That hurt.
Yeah.
But what really hurts is he dropped 7 spots.
Yeah, that's just going to add insult to injury, and he is broken. Vladislav Semenov leads from Nikita Chenkova and Alexander Gassner with 5 to go. A winner a week ago in Innsbruck, Matt Weston from Great Britain. 3 tenths and more from silver. 1500ths from bronze. Is there a chance he can take another medal here? It's a big ask.
On this track, anything can happen. So, watch out what you wish for.
600ths faster at the start than his first heat, down to a 495.
I think he got through that 3, 4, 5 combination okay.
Yeah.
1100ths is not that good of a, should have been more than that. And he's lost everything. Martin, he lost everything up top. Now the question is, how many places is he going to fall?
Ooh.
11 to 11, though. That's stopped the bleeding. But
top 2 Russians are so close together, they're effectively one man. Big skid there at 15 and in 16. Yeah, he'll be second, third or fourth at the line. Oh, wow, 8.
Oh, look at 7 spots.
At the line.
Wow. Look how tight it is, Martin. The top 8 sleds separated by 36 hundredths.
Yeah.
Yeah. 5.
Wow.
5,300 slower.
Well, he was trying to let it fly, and it all went very wrong in 15 and again in 16. Here's the exit of 14. Gets pushed away by the wall, does he? Yeah, not quite. But in 15...
That skid. Look at that skid.
Yeah. And he's down too low on the wrong side into 16. Has to steer hard here.
Look at that.
Yeah. 75 miles an hour. Look at the ice he's carving. Well, if you've ever seen the Cresta run where they dig the knives on the toes of their boots in to brake, that's what was happening there. 4 to go. So, is Vladislav Semenov of Russia going to take a World Cup medal here? Thomas Dukors, Martin Dukors, Axel Jung, Christopher Grothair, rather. They're the 4 remaining sliders. Here's Thomas.
5:09 in the first run for the tallest athlete in the field. 5:07, he improves. He's going to be going for it, Martin, which means the first albatross for him is down here, this 3-4-5 combination. We've seen so many problems with the exit right here. Does he get through there? Yes. So that's one.
He had 1600s. He's got 600s left.
And that's the start. He's
he was only
2100s down at the start.
Yeah.
9th best speed.
Slower at the
That's
start.
the worst sign we've seen so far.
Oh!
10. 9th best
growing.
speed.
He's gone from 1100s up to 1300s back. He's not going to catch Semenov. Semenov will lead with 3 to go. Oh my goodness. Boom. He does drop 3 spots.
Barely beats, you know, how about Gang of China? He's in 5th with 2 to go. Another top 10 for him.
Well, until last week, that would have been equaling his best ever World Cup result, Gun.
Thomas.
No, I beg your pardon. He had a bronze medal before last week.
Yeah.
But, so Thomas Dukors
hangs it up, and does he get through there?
No.
Not perfect.
Looks like Martin's in the first heat. Although Martin's legs didn't come flying. Yeah. Okay, so Thomas 4th with 3 to go. Vladislav Semenov leads from Nikita Treticoff. They're covered by 200s. You either beat them both or you go behind them both. The odds are not good on you slotting in between them. Martin Dukors does not do slotting in between. 4 times a winner here. 11, 12, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 15, 16. But he's only once been on the podium since then, and that was 5 seasons back.
495 start, 200's better, and he goes for broke, Martin, every time he comes down. So the exit here, you know, he's going to say, I'm going for it right here. If I don't make it, I crash and burn, so be it.
I think he only has 1 gear, and that is top gear. And that was a great exit out of 4.
3,500s. Could grow it.
Silver medalist in the first week.
9th best speed. At 2000s. That could go away in a blink. Well, not anymore. He's back online, Martin.
Whoa, big height.
400s.
Still flying.
Watch out here in the finish. Is he going to hit hard?
Second medal of the season coming up. Wow, but a brutal ending.
600 slower than his first run.
Silver medalist in race 1 in Innsbruck. Let's see where he ends up here.
I stand corrected.
So Vladislav Semenov in 2nd with 2 to go. Yeah. No one gets out of here without remembering they've been down Altenberg, John.
Well, people like to see it in their rear view mirrors. Us commentators, we love to see it every time, action like this.
Yeah.
This is picture, every picture tells a story here. I mean, it's...
Yeah, and boom, the arm on the wall at the finish line. Everybody's got that left elbow bruise out of 17. 2 to go. Martin Dukors leads from the silver medalist and the gold medalist in the World Championships here 2 years ago. So Axel Jung was not fit, did not race last year, did one ICC race, one World Cup race. Did not make the World Championship squad for Germany. A 10th in it in the first heat. Are we going to see a track record?
I don't think so, and he's going to give up a 10th to Dukars, 5:03, gave up 800s there. So this lead could be red numbers here. The 1000s could be red numbers here. The 18 mark might not be, especially if he gets through this albatross here, which he does without a problem. Real low line, 1600, so he's on pace already. He overcame
that is the way the Germans drive that corner.
Yeah.
They just come flat around the bottom of 4.
Yes. Oh, he's flying.
Yep. This is about winning the gold. This is about beating Christopher Grother. This is Axel Jung's home track, don't forget. He's from nearby Dresden. He grew up here. Can he take the victory? 4/10 up on Martin Stuhlkors. This is a massive run from Axel Jung.
No,
not quite.
55, 84, 700s off the track record. Here's Anja Huber looking on. The world champion on this track in 2008 in women's skeleton. And that was a pressure run. That's, hey, post the time, catch me if you can.
Absolutely.
That's as good as he can do right there. That's some run right there, Martin.
Yeah.
Look at the feet, a little bit of rudder, I mean the foot going down. The exit here on 14.
Look at that.
Into 14, look at that, huh?
Drives himself onto the line.
Yeah.
That's a good bottom half from Axel Jung.
At least a silver.
Let's see what Grother has got. 2 years ago, February 2020, Grother took his first World Championship gold medal ahead of Axel Jung. Last year, he took his second ahead of Alexander Treticoff. And last week, he took only his second ever World Cup gold medal and his first ever medal, gold medal, away from this track. 5:02.
Awesome.
He knows he's in a battle, doesn't he?
Martin, the best time of the World Championships was 56:39. These guys were going low 56, high 55s in the first run. So he was a few hundreds off the track record. If he keeps this pace up, we will see a winning gold medal run.
Let's see if he's got what it takes.
Ooh,
he only
he's
had a 10th
back.
in hand. 6th best speed is not great. Is this going to be gold for Axel Jung, or does the world champion somehow find it like Tina Hermann did in the last 3 corners?
It's even right now, right to the 100.
Out of 14, he's behind. Speed's not great. Axel Jung was fastest at the bottom. He's going to be gold at home for Axel Jung, and silver for Christopher Grother. Get in. Axel Jung, that was a pressure run from Jung. He really threw it down. And as you said, John, catch me if you can.
He didn't catch it, but he went 2,800 slower. Axel Jung went faster.
Yeah.
It's cumulative time, both runs. You don't throw one away.
Track record in the first heat. He needed record pace in the second. Did not have it below the Kreisel, and that's why. Look at that. Big waves and an uncomfy exit.
This was, I don't know. That's pretty good lines there, Martin. Hard to see the naked eye where the mistakes were, but.
Well, you want to know how good his run was? He ended up 4,500s ahead of Martin Stuhlkors. That's how good a run that was. He did end up 1,100s behind Axel Jung. Look at Axel Jung, look at the determination in his eyes there. Christopher Grother, 3 wins of his 4 career wins in World Cup and World Championships to come on this track. Axel Jung breaks that and takes his first ever win here on his home track.
Pretty good lines.
Last World Cup winner for Germany back in 2016-17 was Christopher Groothair. Before that, Miki Halilovic in the pre-2010 season. Frank Rommel, 2009. And now Axel Jung, 2021. So huge, huge win for Axel Jung, returning after injury last year. His third career gold medal in World Cup racing. Christopher Groothair, second. Martin Stukos, third. And Vladislav Semenov, fourth place finish, top Russian on this track in just his fourth World Cup race. He and Elena Chenkova, who took silver for Russia in the women's race, are absolutely Russia's big stories so far this season. Let's see what our remaining 5 skeleton World Cup races produce in the run-in to the Games in Beijing. But John, Axel Jung piled the pressure on with as near to perfection as we'll see this evening.
Well, you can't win it in the first heat, but you can lose it. But he just put himself in position to win the gold, put up the best time of the second run, and on his home track, Martin.
Yep, Christopher Groothair is still our World Cup points leader, courtesy of 2 wins and that silver medal. Axel Jung vaults up to second place ahead of Martin Stukos. And look, who's the best of the rest? Vladislav Semenov is ahead of Alexander Treticoff. Gung of China still just behind them. What a crazy season we're having. And Sun Bin Jung plummets down the order from 10th to 15th as he fails to make the cut in the first heat here. Well, 3 races in to our skeleton World Cup season, and anything seems possible this year. Can't wait until we get to Winterberg next week, where a whole other group of demands are required. And for Australia's Nick Timmings, his first World Cup race of the season sees him make the cut and jump straight ahead of his brother and Elliot Brown, his compatriot, in the points standings. And that is it for skeleton action here in Altenberg. Saturday starts with women's monobob, 0900 local, 0800 GMT, 0300 Eastern, and the 2-man bobsleigh in the afternoon before the women's bob and the 4-man on Sunday. For the IBSF TV crew and John Morgan, I'm Martin Haven saying thank you for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow bright and early for all the action. Bye for now.